online events. OR Coffee events are an informal platform for parties and observers to share information and bring knowledge to advances in technology, research, and policy to the attention of parties and to the global community that the convention serves. Here, we embrace informality as an opportunity for innovation and collaboration, bring together a spectrum of stakeholders to explore fresh alternatives and solutions. Your participation adds depth and richness to our discussions. So before I hand this over to the moderator of the event, let me go through a few housekeeping notes. So for the panelists, we have already tested our audio and camera. And if you encounter any technical difficulties in terms of projecting the slides or having the videos projected, please let us know immediately in the chat box. And for all the participants, there will be a Q&A section at the end of this event. And when the Q&A session comes, there are two ways that you can communicate and discuss things with our speakers. The first one is that you can see a hand icon on your screen, and by clicking the raise hand icon, we can then send you a request to unmute yourself, and then once you accept that request, you will be able to talk with the speaker directly. Otherwise, you could also choose to type your questions in the chat box whenever you want. And if anyone encounter any technical problems, please also feel free to send us, namely the host and co-host, your technical problems in the chat box. And kindly noted that this session is being recorded and broadcast live on YouTube. And also, please help us to keep improving the experiences by filling out the survey at the end of this webinar. So without further ado, I'll give Maria the floor. Thank you very much.
Hello, thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here today. So let me share here my presentation. Perfect. So you can see everything okay? Jean? Yes.
Yes, everything's working perfectly. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. So yes, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. My name is Maria del Mar Solano. I am from the Ministry of Environment and Energy from Costa Rica. And today I will present you one of the activities that we did under our NAP project for the identification of mining sites using drones. First of all, I will see. Oh, wait. Perfect. So first, I would like to tell you that Costa and here, Red Square, you can see that is the village where the mining activity is taking place. This town is located in Guanacaste, and the specific name of the site is Avangares. That is a village where most of the population depends on the mining activity. But first, now I will tell you a little. Here you can see, sorry, the area of the mining sites. And in this light green, you can see that there is a part of the territory that is protected. These orange or yellow dots are the sites that I will explain you more in detail later. But first of all, I will give you a brief overview on what we did on our NAP. So here, as you can see, we had a committee that involved different national institutions, the institutions related with mining activity, environmental licensing, the Ministry of Health, our Vice Minister in charge of mining, and the academia, of course. Also, so at the end, we came up with these strategies and studies. We have a public health strategy. Among the activities that we wrote there are the accessibility of the national public health system for the minors, because currently they are not covered by this system. It's a special population since their exposure to the mercury. So also we have a strategy for managing trade and preventing the diversion of mercury. As you know, mercury trade in this activity is illegal. So we are trying to work very close with customs, but still there are much work to do on this part. Then we have an ASGM formalization strategy. For me, this is the heart of the NAP, because when we formalize the activity, then we can have more control on the environmental and health impacts of the activity. In this strategy, we developed some projects for the Congress for a new law on ASGM, so hoping that we can manage better the activity, but I have to tell you that it's still under study in the Congress. Also, we have a worst practice elimination strategy. Of course, here to avoid the impact to the environment and also the exposure for the miners. We have a strategy for involving stakeholders, because the communication with them is very important, so they understand the risk, the impacts. So we have this as well, even during the project. And also we have these baseline estimates for the quantities of mercury use and the practice. This study gives us a general idea on the amount of mercury that is used per year and how much gold is recovered in this activity. Also, we have a social and economic study. Here, for us, was a surprise, I have to tell you, because it's a different from other countries, because here women are the one in charge or the most involved in the activity. We realize that the women have the higher education degree. They are in charge of the trade of the gold. They are involved on all the different levels of the value chain. So it's very different from other parts of the world that we hear about women, but here I think they are very empowered women. So that at least is a good news. And also we developed some environmental evaluation. We did some analytical analysis on sediments, land, water, fish, and earth. So here you can see our NAP document. Here you have the link to access those documents. We have a complete document, then we have a summary that we also translate into English and is available in our website. So here just a very quick overview on the activities that we did. We did at least 10 workshops with miners and institutions and combined for different things, for capacity building, validation, training, etc. And also we did, as I told you before, the environmental monitoring on mercury, on sediments, water, tailings, air, and fish. Also, we developed some guidelines that also are available, well, only in Spanish in this case, and in our website for good practices in ASGM. Also, we did this manual for fabrication of a device that tries to reduce the emissions of mercury during the amalgam burning. And here there is this brochure that it has the highlights of the NAP. Also, we have this material this material was given to the miners. This one here is about the health impacts and exposure of mercury. This second one is about the general topics of the NAP. And this last one is about the worst and best practices on the ASGM based on the Annex C of the Minamata Convention. Okay, now we go to the main activity, that is the mapping of the mining sites. This activity was done because when we finish our NAP, still we have some resources of the project, so we decided to start some early implementation of some activities. And one of our priority activities was this identification. So we did it in 3 different levels. First, we did this one, area 1, that is about 2,800 hectares. The second one, 2,000, and then we have this third area of 800 hectares. Okay, before I explain all the details, I will explain the methodology that was used. Here you can see the devices. For this, we hire a company here in Costa Rica that they are experts on this. We use, well, these receptors with a high precision. This sensor, the LiDAR sensor, then we have this drone, the brand DJI, with a range of 15 kilometers and flight time of 55 minutes, and then this camera with a resolution of 45 MP. And after this, okay, these were the devices. They generate some data that was processed using these softwares. For example, this is, I know this is very technical, but just to have the general idea, this for the photometric analysis and cloud point clouds, we use MetaShape, DJI Terra, Terra Solid, and for land uses and GIS, we use these softwares. Okay, now we go into the results of this. Okay, with all with the softwares and the data, we had these different products. We have this point cloud with the LiDAR sensor that then we have the idea of what's happening in the ground. Then we have a map of contour lines. We have the uses and layers of GIS. We have some models. For example, this MDT that stands for Land Digital Model. We have the orthophotos, and then we have the model of MDS that stands for Surface Digital Model. So all these combined give us the data that we were looking for. Okay, so here we have the extraction and processing sites. Those are all these orange dots that you can see. Here you see that in the at the first level, we identified 109 sites. During the second one, there were second area, there were 76 sites, and the third one site. A total of 186 extraction and processing sites in a total area of 5,680 hectares. Something important here is that 53 sites were inside the protected area, as you can see here in the part of this light green. So that is main concern for us, because this protect area was done, or it is protect for the sources of drinking water of the village. And also another important, but it's not, we don't have this data so accurate, but among these 186 extraction sites, they involve around 2,000 miners, but still this is a number that varies over during the time. So it's not very precise. Okay, so with this information, that give us a lot of a nice overview on what's happening. We decided to make these 4 classifications depending on what we want, but here you have this classification on coverage of land use. Then we have site description, that there were divided, these sites were divided in 6 sublevels, then the size of the sites, and also the stratification of land use. So first, we are going to see the coverage of land use. Okay, so here you see the coverage that mainly is forest, with 75.58% of the total area is covered by forest. The second one is grass with 20.62%, and the third place is for urban areas. So here you can see, here you have the colors of each coverage, but mainly is the use of the land is forest. Here also is the stratification of land use that confirm what we saw before. So 57.84 is about forest, and in that area there are 107 sites. So as you can see, most of the sites are in the forests. Then there is grass with 36 sites, with 18.92% of the area that was mapped. And then for urban uses, we have 43 sites with 23.24% of the area. Okay, so here is an example on what we can see with the models. So here we have an example of forest. As you can see in purple, well, on my left side, then we have the real photo. And on the right, you can see how this is seen in the model. So here you can see in purple, there is the urban use, the dark green is the forest, and then the light green is the grass. So that's how is seen in the model that we use. Also, here is the example of the what's happening in reality, and then how it's seen in the model. Here is an example of mainly grass. Here you see urban, and here you can see also that there are these, here you can see that there are a lot of miners processing in the backyard of their houses. Okay, so now here you can see how the the size categories were done or they look like. Here you see an activity that we consider is big. Here, a small one that is mainly a house, that is we are going to see that later, but it's the majority of the sites. And then we have the medium size sites. And here you have the detail. So for this category, then we have 172 sites that are considered small. That is 92% of the sites. Then we have 11 medium sites with 5.91%. And then we have 3 big sites. So here in the map, you see the red squares that are the big sites. In yellow, then we have the medium, and a lot of small light green dots are the small sites that are in all the area. And this classification consumed a lot of time and analysis, because then it was necessary to look into all the photos to identify and classify all the sites, because we have sites with buildings or structures, not real buildings, but some structures, and mining dome. I have to say that for us, I was not sure about the word in English. So this mining dump is the tailings already dry. So we have 18 sites that have buildings and mining dump or mining waste, let's say. Then we have places with only mining dump that are 46. Then we have tailings, places with that only there are tailings, that is this pool with sediments that they are 20. Also, we have another that have tailings, buildings, and mining dome. They are 35. We have tailings and buildings sites with, they are 55, and then tailings and mining dome 12. I will show you what does it mean as follow. Okay, here you can see what we mean with buildings and mining dome. So here you have an structure, see? And then this area that is next to them is the mining dome. Okay, now here you this place is only with mining dome. See, so probably these are abandoned places, and the miners move to another place, because that's usually a very common practice. So they move around. So here we have the tailings and buildings. See, this is what we consider is tailing and the buildings. Here, only tailings. So again, probably they were processing here before, and then they moved to another place. Here, there is a description of tailings, buildings, and mining dome. Of course, you can see this is a big working place there. Here, that is the most common tailings and buildings. This is the houses of the small miners, that, as you can see, here is the house, also the place where they process, and then they have here the tailings. Okay, so here in general, then we have 28 sites with mining dump, and with these tools that we have, we can calculate the amount of material that is there, probably contaminated with mercury. So here you can see this area, it has 65.1 cubic meters, and here this one is about 79.5 cubic meters. So that is important to have an idea of the contamination in the place. We have that for all the places. Of course, I didn't want to show you all the details because those are a lot of tables, but the information is there. Also, among all the sites, we have 197 tailings with a total area of, also here is possible to calculate the area. So with a total area of 1,361.2 square meters. So that was the work that we did. We found a lot of benefits. Among those benefits, we can say that this tool and this technology allow to quantify the size of the ASGM relatively quickly, also track the activity growth, facilitates the identification and prioritization in the field. The use of this type of technology allows access to remote places that are difficult to access or have a degree of danger. That is a situation that is common on AXGM activities. And also the versatility of this tool allows you to identify land use, ASGM distribution, quantification of tailings, as well as the waste dump. Also, we have, there are some recommendations. The first one is that it is recommended to generate field verification work on some sites based on sampling to complement the information that was obtained. Also, it's recommended to feed the GIS layers with future data provided by other projects or studies to make advantage of the data management and analysis that these tools allow. And now I will show you a short video that shows you the area of the ASGM here in Costa Rica. So bear with me. Just let me find the video. Okay, here it is. Okay. That was my presentation. I don't know if there are some questions. Apparently, there are no questions. Mm. There is a comment that is asking for a link on the chat. Ale? Leonardo is asking for the link. The link of what? Probably for the recording, I guess. So if it's that, I think this the recording will be available on the website of the convention, I think, and also in the YouTube channel of the convention.
Hi there. Just to jump in, Leonardo, the whole recording will be available on our website, and we can share you with the website in the chat box later, so you can go through the presentation again if you want to. You're also welcome to go through other events that we had. We have all the recordings. Thank you very much. We can send it to you in the chat box. And in terms of other questions, participants may raise their hands to talk or can still drop the questions in the chat box. And while we're waiting for questions, I'm just wondering, Maria, do you have anything you would love to give a few more words to stress about? Anything more that you want to share about? That will be great to hear a little bit more from you. It's a fantastic presentation.
Thank you, thank you. Well, as you might know, the ASGM, I think in all the countries is very complicated to deal on, but we're happy to share our experience on this, and also just to tell the rest that is a matter of patience, and also it's important to explain the miners the impact of the use of the mercury, because during all this time that we have been working with them, still they don't believe that mercury is bad for their health. So that is a very interesting fact.
I think, yeah, about a lot of like other events that we're having, people always mention that we need to keep educating the public about this, and that's what we have always been trying to do. And it's great to have you here, and a lot of like other great event organizers here to help us together make Mercury history and pursue the challenge. And I see other questions in the chat. Would you love to take it, Maria?
Yes, I see one here from Richard.
Yes.
He said, I would like to know how long it took to do the mapping. Richard, that each stage, were three, each takes about 2 weeks on field work, and then around 2 or 3 weeks of processing the data. So actually, I think it's not much time. The field work is very quick. Also, it depends on the weather conditions, but in general, is quick. Then it says, did your team members undertook special training to use the technology? Yes. In my case, I didn't took the training, but there were 6 of the colleagues that had the training to use the drones and the softwares. So yes, now we have that training with us. And also it says, what advice would you give to others who would like to undertake the same project? Okay, that don't be afraid. And also, it's impossible that we know about everything. In my case, I'm not expert in using the drones, but then we hire an expert, and then the most important is what we can do with the data that we generate. I think that is very important for decision making and future work on this. Yeah. So I think there are no more questions. Am I right?
Yeah, we don't see any other questions right now. And for Leonardo, my colleague Shariful has already shared 2 links that you that you have access to other events that we're having as well as the recording. Thank you very much. And I think Richard has another question. We love to take it.
Oh, okay. Let me see. Yes. Does the government have plans to regularly conduct mapping the same areas? What action was taken with those miners in the forest? Okay. Yes, that's the idea, to continue mapping the same areas to see how they change. Also at the regional level, they are working on some measures to deal with the miners inside the protected area, because as I mentioned before, they move. So maybe today they are here and then next month they are in another place. So it's a little bit difficult, but there are coordinated efforts with a regional level and also with the municipality there. They are working on that too. I hope I answered the question. Okay, thank you. So I think if there are no more questions, I'm very thank you, and I hope to see you at COP5.
See you soon in Cup 5. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And if there are not other questions, let's wait for another minute. If there are no other questions, we may close the webinar. We see Marco raised his hands. I'm sending you, please keep your hand raised, and then I can send you a request to unmute you. I've already sent the request, Marco. Could you see that? You might want to click the raise hand button icon again so that we can send you the request. Okay. So Marco, if you have any other questions, please also feel free to type it in the chat if that's easier for you. Okay, if that's the case, if Marco's like maybe currently away from the computer or the device, Maria, would you mind sharing your email in the chat? So if people have other questions, they can mark it down and they have more discussions.
Yes, of course.
Thank you very much.
There it is.
Thank you very much. And if there are no other questions, we may end the webinar. And thank you again for joining us. Thank you again for the great presentation. And thank you for all the participants to join us. And I see a lot of your names pop up in different events. And we're really grateful for all the participation. And let's see you in COP5. See you in a bit.
Bye.
Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day, everyone. And again, just a quick jump in. Again, please remember to help us to fill up the survey after the webinar ends so that we can keep improving our experience for all the events. Thank you very much. Bye.